Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever, wherever, however you're watching the WarTide podcast. This is episode number 6. Before we do anything else, I want to give y'all the verse of the day. And the verse of the day is Psalm 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. If you don't know God, please find God. The time is definitely coming. You never know when the day is your last day. You never know when God is returning uh, to come save all of us. So if you don't know God, find God, please. I mean, it is He died for our sins. He's not closing heaven off for anybody, no matter what you done, no matter how much guilt you got. So if you seek Him, He is always there waiting for you. Uh, with that being said, we're gonna get straight into it. And before I a lot of Alabama and Auburn today, uh, so I'm in no rush. But with that being said, I think we're gonna go ahead and get on. So the first preview of the week is LSU versus Vandy, and this is at Vandy, I believe, right?
Correct.
I don't know the time that it is being played. If you do,
11 a.m.
11 a.m. Well, I think if you ask me right now, if I just looked at the talent on paper, I'd give you LSU winning this football game. But if you ask me who I think's the better coach team, who's the more prepared team, who's looked better this year, who's ready to win this football game and prove that they have a real shot at being SEC contenders and being college football playoff appearances or I don't know, has a chance at a college football playoff appearance. I think it is the Vanderbilt Commodores. I think Vandy comes in here. They find a way. I just haven't seen anything from LSU to let me know that they're going to wake up at really early, come to Vanderbilt at 11 a.m. And find a way to win this football game. Now, Vanderbilt isn't one of the craziest away environments. They don't really have the biggest stadium, and they don't usually have the biggest showing. But this Vandy team, this Vandy team is they look really good. I think Clark Lee has done some things with this Vandy team nobody thought imaginable, and a lot of that is thanks to Diego Pavia. And I just think Diego Pavia finds a way to beat this LSU team. Now, I will say the LSU defense is probably the highlight of that team. I think that LSU defense is really strong, really physical. They find a way to put you in uncomfortable situations. But I do not believe in the LSU offense whatsoever. Somebody tell me the last time they didn't score 20 points. Because I don't know.
Dude.
I don't know. It's their magic number. And I don't think I think you need to score a little bit more to beat Vandy in Vandy. I think you got to find a way to get up into the higher 20s, maybe even the 30s. That is to be decided. I just don't believe in this LSU offense and Vandy's defense. It hasn't been absolutely amazing, but it's been better than I would have imagined coming into the season. It's definitely been impressive to see a Vandy defense play the way that they are. They are pretty gritty and they are pretty physical, and they do surprise you sometimes with the lack of talent, but the dog in the fight, some would say. They do impress me with that. Clark Lee really knows how to get them going, get them hyped, get them ready to put a hat on a chest. I'm gonna say, because you can't do helmet to helmet no more.
Well, it
So
depends. It depends.
yeah, it really
Depends
really
who paid
depends
the
on
ref
who
the
the
most
ref
money.
is. Um,
Yeah.
but that is I think they're ready. I think this is Vandy's biggest test outside of Alabama, but I didn't think they had a chance anyway. I think um this is the real game for Vandy to prove to the world that they're legit. They have a shot to compete with the best of them, and I think Vandy gets it done.
Yeah, I agree. We'll get into predictions later. You already know how many points I have LSU scoring. I'm not. At this point, I'm not predicting anything else. Um, Regardless, um, yeah, I don't have any faith in this LSU offense. This LSU offense is 78th in total yards per game, 48th in passing yards per game, 113th at the University or Louisiana State University in rushing yards per game, and then 86th in points per game. The That's terrible. That is terrible. And then you compare that to Vandy's offense, who is 19th in the FBS in yards per game, 47th in passing yards per game, 23rd in rushing yards per game, and then they're 7th in scoring per game. So I don't see why Vandy doesn't win this game. Unless LSU comes out with this just edge about them that we have not seen all year. But Garrett Nussmeier, I imagine he's been hurt all year. I don't think that magically fixes itself in a week. I think their best wide receiver's out. He's not coming back this game. Um, their rushing attack has not been there all year. I don't think that magically comes back this year. Vandy has a pretty solid run defense, not phenomenal, but they are pretty good. Let's see, their rushing defense. What am I saying? Their rushing defense is the 16th in the country in yards per game. So they have a pretty good rushing defense too. So, and conveniently, Vanderbilt's defense gives up 19.3 points per game. So yeah, LSU is going to score 20. I'm calling it, and that's not going to be enough. Vandy is going to score more than 20. So give me Vandy. I can actually cheer for Vandy now again because we shut Diego Pavia up finally after 365 freaking days. Anyway, I'm over
I've
that.
been dealing
I'm
with
over
it
that.
for 470.
And yet, go ahead and add another
Yeah,
eternity.
yeah, it ain't gonna change this year.
Uh,
I know that.
yeah. But yeah, give me Vandy. Vandy is favored in this game by 2.5, which I think is kind of low. I'm gonna pick Vandy to cover that. Um, yeah, yeah. What I have in my notes is LSU scores 20 again. Vandy simply just scores more. Anchor down. All right, give me Vandy all the way. They have a better rushing attack. They have a better passing game. Now, with a healthy Garrett Nussmeier, probably not the case, but he's not healthy. Uh, Nothing you can do about that. That's the unfortunate side of football. And yeah, I think they have the coaching edge there too. I think Brian Kelly sucks. Respectfully, at least in the SEC he does. Dude had one good year. Ever since then, he's been very subpar for what LSU expects. But yeah, give me Vandy all the way. Um, LSU, Vandy's ranked 17th and LSU is 10. That needs to be, I'm not gonna say totally flipped, but Vandy needs to be ranked above LSU, and I think it finally happens after they put a nice little can of whoop up on them boys and just run them through the mud, similar to how they did Alabama. Look at the time of possession at the end of this game, because LSU can't run the football. They've struggled to pass the football. The time of possession might be 40, like 45, 46, 48 to like 12 in favor of LSU. This game might be ugly. It might be close, but I think it's going to be ugly in the terms of, conversions and time of possession, that area.
That would be an absolutely fun game to watch if that happens. I will be all for it. If they can find a way to dominate LSU like that, I'd be a really happy man. I think I'll be a Vandy fan this weekend just for that reason. No, I'm not no Vandy fan. I can't pull for Diego Pavia. Can't do it.
Dude, y'all got him in a few weeks, dude. You can't be cheering for Vandy. Let's see.
No, you're right, but I pretty much hate LSU more than anybody else in the country. So watching them lose is always hilarious.
Of course.
I
All the
don't
time.
I don't really have much more. If that does happen though, if they destroy the time of possession like that, I don't think it is close. I don't think it's
No.
close whatsoever. I think it'll be a
Time of possession is so
game.
important.
Yeah, for sure.
So important.
It's probably top 3 most important things in football.
Yeah. Outside of the turnover margin, I would say that's
turnovers,
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Penalties really important.
Yeah.
I would still say time of possession is more important than penalties unless you have like 100+ yards in penalties, in which case that just is terrible. But
I mean, do we count like the 22 minutes where there's multiple stoppages and free timeouts to the opposing team? Do we count those as time of possession?
um, you know,
Because
well,
at that point,
what
the
I
penalties kind of help you, you know?
what I do count is in the second half, Auburn, the time of possession was 22-8. So that's what I do
Oh,
count.
I heard you say something about Oklahoma versus South Carolina. Uh,
Yes.
where
Yeah.
where is
It could be a
this
big game.
game?
This is going to be at South Carolina. Oklahoma is favored by 4.5. It's going to be a 12:45 local time kickoff. So let's
Strange
see. That's
time.
going to be. Hmm.
I said that's a strange time.
Yeah, no. 11:45 here. 12:45
Yeah.
there over in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Um. Let's see. Anything else? Uh. Yeah, Oklahoma's favored by 4.5. I don't know if I said that or not, but it's out South Carolina.
I think I think Oklahoma has a bounce back game. I don't think they are what they showed this last Saturday. I look like a complete idiot for dog in
We
Las
both do.
Vegas and their odds last week. Texas absolutely dog walked them. And I really do believe, and this isn't trying to make an excuse for myself, I believe it's because John Mateer isn't 100%, and he just was not ready. He was not ready at all. I don't. I believe after the first two interceptions, they just been like, "All right, go ahead, sit down." I mean, even after the first, he didn't look good at all. Really, all game he looked pretty rough. I think you should have just sat him down. I think I don't know the backup's name. I always forget it. But I think him healthy is better than this hurt John Mateer. I think he can compete. Um, Better. He can give his all, and I think he knows the importance of the Red River rivalry. Um, and I don't think he would have let them down. There were some passes that weren't all John Mateer's fault, but I do think that played a large part in why they lost. And I got to give credit where it's due. Last week I said I think Jackson Arnold will have, at the end of the day, had a better game against that Oklahoma defense than Arch Manning. Arch Manning somehow found his swagger. He got on that field. He played his game. He didn't look like the best quarterback in college football, but he looked. That was his best game, I think, all year, in my opinion. If you don't count the cupcakes, um,
Yeah.
he looked poised. He looked like he was. He looked like he deserved his shot at Texas. He looked like he was ready to play SEC football. And I like watching Arch Manning play good. I want to be a fan of Arch Manning, but you got all these people that are hyping him up and say he's going to be the number one overall pick. Then you get out here and you just completely wet the bed every week. It's really hard to be one of those supporters when everybody else is already ready to lift you up, no matter what you do. But I think that was his best game against that Oklahoma defense, a really good Oklahoma defense. And I expect more from them this week against South Carolina. I expect Brent Venables to have that defense fully prepared to go down and kind of shut down Lenora Sellers. I think Lenora Sellers is going to have a fair game. I don't think it's going to be absolutely amazing, but I think he'll find a way to have a good game. Um, but I still think Oklahoma finds a way to shut down that offense from getting um, crazy active. I think it's all up to John Mateer's health and availability for this South Carolina game. Um, I would also like to see more from that O line, the Oklahoma O line, and the playmakers. I want to see the receivers actually catch the ball and not let it slip through their hands. That was a problem against Texas. They had I guess they just got scared, weren't ready for the moment, and I think they find a way to bounce back versus South Carolina.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. In my notes, I said I think Oklahoma does bounce back after a terrible Red River shootout. Um, yeah. Important to note about this game is John Mateer healthy. Um, you were talking about the backup quarterback. His name is Michael Hawkins Jr.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, not totally sure he's gonna be good enough to win them this game. It depends on what South Carolina team comes out. If it's the South Carolina team we've been seeing, um, then yeah, yeah, we he probably can go in there and beat them. Um, thank goodness it's not a night game if you are Oklahoma because at hey, Williams-Brice Stadium at night rocks, especially since this is going to be one of the biggest games they have all year outside of the Alabama game. Um, yeah, I think it's kind of a wake-up call for the Oklahoma players, not named John Mateer. Not talking about him right now, just everybody else that yeah, this y'all are beatable. Y'all are not quite as good as what y'all thought y'all were, beating up on a bad Michigan team, beating up on a struggling Auburn team, um, with some officials' help uh, in that game. So yeah, I think the wake up call is important. I talked about last week why might Texas be favored versus Oklahoma is because it was a must-have game for Texas, and that's something that you only really get in college football. Their backs are against the wall. You're about to see a different version of Texas, and I didn't predict it to happen, but I said that's what the odds were baked in for. But I think it's this week for Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma rolls over South Carolina, and I think this is gonna be crazy. I'm telling you, the way this South Carolina season can go, whether or not it's deserved or not, because of how hard their schedule is. Do not be surprised if there are some Shane Beamer hot seat talks throughout the season, and it could start this week if it goes south, like very south. I looked up what his buyout was earlier. It's less than $5 million. It will take nothing to get him out of there should this season go absolutely terrible, which it very well could. Because I mean, the South Carolina schedule, holy crap! They they get Oklahoma, then they bring in Alabama, they go to Ole Miss, they go to Texas A&M, and then they finish a year with Clemson. They could lose every single one of those games and only get one more win throughout the rest of the season against Coastal Carolina. If that's the case, you're 4-8 with a less than a $5 million buyout. Shane Beamer could be gone. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm not predicting it, but there is a world where that South Carolina job could come open. Um, so maybe this is a must win for South Carolina. Um, it's Cocktober after all, so maybe this is where they get it done and upset and kind of shock the world a little bit. Oklahoma's only favored by 4.5, right? I think this would be a major upset if they were to be able to beat this Oklahoma team. Should John Mateer be healthy? If he's not healthy and it's clear from the get-go, then we look at this game differently than if John Mateer is healthy. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Oklahoma. Predict the score and all that later, but it's a big game for both programs. Um, at the very least, South Carolina has to at least show a pulse. They haven't all year, so they better show one this Saturday.
Yeah, you might have just changed my prediction later on. Whoa, I'll get into that later. You might have
All right,
just changed my prediction.
all
Uh,
right.
but wait,
Hey, dude,
what'd
you
you
can't
call
be
this
playing
month?
down. You're down 10, Anderson. Don't play
What'd you call this month though?
Cocktober.
Hey, I've never experienced that. I'm not trying to today. Um, the next game we're gonna go over is Ole Miss versus Georgia. This game is at Ole Miss. I believe it's a what's a 2:30 game.
This is a 2:30 game, 3:30 local time. Over in Athens, Georgia is favored by 7.5.
It's at Georgia. I thought it was
It is at Georgia. Game day.
mm,
Game day will be in town.
woo. Do you see their special guest picker?
Uh, talking about the official.
Yeah, it's that
More
ref.
more more ties to the University of Georgia than Theo Vaughn does to the University of Alabama. So
Hey,
there's that.
whatever that's supposed to mean. You talking about how they had him on for the guest picker for the
Yeah,
Vandy
for the
game?
Alabama win with no ties to Alabama, but ties to Vandy. That was just stupid. That crap only happens to Alabama. All the NFL players you could possibly want, and you're gonna pick freaking Theo Vaughn. Whatever, dude.
Hey, hey, hey. I like Theo. I think he's a cool dude.
I think he's great. He's done it before. Can we please get like a Mark Ingram? Well, he's on Fox. Can we get like a dude? Get Nate Oates. I would love to see Nate Oates be a College Game Day guest picker. Dadgummit, get Miss Terry to do it again for all I care. To get somebody connected to the University of Alabama. Goodness. Anyway,
It
it's
is
a
what
couple
it
weeks old.
is. It is what it is. Yeah. It's a couple weeks old. So somebody been letting that salt marinate a little bit too long.
Yeah,
Uh,
won't be the last time I say that either.
Ole Miss versus Georgia at Georgia. This is a tough game for me. Um, I think, I think, Ole Miss is better overall right now. But it is at Georgia. Um, Georgia's coming off a quote unquote emotional win. In the words of Curry Smart, it was an emotional win to him. Um, so I think they're on a high right now. How they let that affect them into this week, I think that high can either make them play better or play worse. Obviously, you only have those two options, so that's not a very crazy take. But um, I think it manages to somehow make them play better. Um, Now, does that mean I think Georgia's going to win? I don't know. I don't know. If Georgia plays that kind of defense like they did against Auburn, I think they find a way to win this game. I think that's um, the most important factor into this game is what version of that Georgia defense are we going to get? Because that was the best they had played all year defensively. Um, is that because Auburn sucks? Probably. Um, so I don't want to gas them up too much, but I don't want to take away from them neither. This is a an Ole Miss defense that is, it's an Ole Miss defense, but they've played pretty solid at times this year. It's the Ole Miss offense that's always going to play the way that they do. They're coming off of a struggling win against Washington State, a very close game that made me bump them down in my rankings just
Me
for
too.
the performance that they had. I mean, it was very poor. It was a very poor showing, and I think Lane Kiffin, um, he's gonna try his hardest to bounce back from that. I think they kind of just looked ahead. They kind of looked sloppy. They were looking ahead to Georgia, and we're gonna see if that pays out. We're gonna see if them looking ahead and struggling against Washington State pays off in the long run. Um, Me personally, this is a very tough game to predict. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it'll be a good game. I'll give you my prediction when we get there. But like I said, I think the key to this game is the Georgia defense. What version of that Georgia defense are we going to get? If it's the defense that played against Tennessee, I don't think there's a way that they win this game. If it's the defense that played in the second half versus Bama and in the second half versus Auburn, I think they find a way to pull off the win. But that is to be decided.
Yeah, how you talked about this game was exactly how I was planning on talking about this game. You started off with you're kind of torn on it. In my notes, I'm a little torn on this. It could go either way. I agree with you. This Georgia defense is the most important part. Will the game in Auburn, will it hurt or help Georgia? I think in most situations, I'd probably say hurt, but with Kirby Smart, I th I think it helps. And I'll get into my prediction later, but um, I think Georgia's gonna win, but I'm really torn. Like I've gone back and forth a couple times. Um, here's how that looks. Georgia losing. Georgia's passing defense is 60th in the country. Ole Miss's passing offense is 8th in the country. All right. Let's see. Georgia is 84th in the country in defensive third down percentage, allowing opponents to convert 40% of the time. Now that number is juiced a little bit because Alabama rocked them in third down, went like 8 for 8 to start the game. Um, but Ole Miss ranks 17th on offense on converting on third downs. They convert over 50% of the time on third downs. Um, I think had Ole Miss not looked so poorly this past Saturday, I'd probably pick Ole Miss. That and the win, the kind of win Georgia had over Auburn, I think that momentum carries, the attitude carries. Because Georgia really didn't play all that good, but they had a good attitude for what it's worth. I think that carries. I think Ole Miss kind of tasted a little bit of their own blood, even though they did not lose. Um, so I think it's gonna be a good game. I'm torn on it. It really could go either way. But this is where we're gonna find out a lot about Ole Miss. Is Ole Miss legit SEC contenders? We find out this Saturday. Is Georgia going to be a 3 plus 3 4 loss team even? We're gonna find out this Saturday. They won a shootout against Tennessee. Can they do it again? I don't see this being low scoring. Then again, Ole Miss just went 24-21 to Washington State. So maybe it will be low scoring. I don't know. Um, yeah, I'm really excited for this game. I think it's going to be a good game. It was a great game last year. Ole Miss did get the win. That's another factor. Kirby Smart in revenge games against everyone not named Alabama, I think he might be undefeated. So that's another factor coming into play. So yeah, I'm ready for this game. Another game. I don't know, dude. I'm gonna have to sit down, kick my feet up, and do nothing but watch football all day long because it's a heavy weekend. A heavy weekend.
Unfortunately, I'll be at work, so I won't be able to
Ah, what
do
time you
that.
get off?
Uh, I don't know yet. It'll probably be 3:15.
Okay,
So
cool, cool.
really unfortunate. It'll be
Yeah,
alright. I sneak in. I sneak in a few
uh,
headphones.
yeah.
I'll find
At
a way
least
to
Auburn
listen.
plays at night.
Oh
You
yeah, yeah. I'll be at home seated, and ready for that game. That'll be a good
gonna
one.
be in the fetal position for this game?
No, no, I don't think so. Now
Is it
the
getting close to that point?
yes, yes, yes. We go back to back road games. I will be terrified. Bobby Petrino Magic and Vandy is legit. So
You actually have Kentucky in between the Vandy game,
do we?
so you get a break.
I
Hmm.
thought Kentucky was after Vandy,
Now you get Arkansas, Kentucky, then Vandy, and then you get a bye week.
and then Mercer and then Bama.
Right.
Oh well, in that case, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The next game on the list is USC versus Notre Dame. Who's at home? I'm really unprepared this week. Who's at home?
That's fine. It's going to be at Notre Dame. They're favored by 8.5. It's going to be 6:30 night game, local time kickoff.
Ooh, that sucks
Um,
because I'll be watching Auburn. I want to watch this game.
I'm going to be having to flip back and forth. Oh wait, the Alabama game's a night game. Ain't neither one of us going to see this game. So
Oh man, I can't watch
shoot,
Alabama or. Oh man, oh, it's gonna be
dude,
a
it's a
tough
crazy
week.
weekend. And hey, in case you were really worried about it, you also can't watch Texas versus Kentucky because that's also a night game.
That one really hurt my heart, Garrett.
It's a big blow. I know.
No,
I
I'm
know.
not. I'm not gonna be watching that game.
Nobody's gonna watch that game.
um, for this one, I think I got the upset on this one. I think USC, especially after the way that they shut down Michigan this last week. I think they look really good. I think USC deserves to be in the spot that they're in. Their offense looks electric. I think their running back had over 8 yards per carry against the Michigan defense, and I don't think this Notre Dame defense is any better. They might be, They'll show me this weekend, but I don't think they're much better um, than the Michigan defense. And I think USC is going to be able to do essentially kind of what they want. I think USC's offense is better than Texas A&M's offense overall, and you saw what they did against Notre Dame, playing poorly. I thought that was a very poor showing from that Texas A&M offense, and you saw what they did in their house. And I think it's kind of similar. And I think this USC defense might even play better than what Texas A&M's defense did against Notre Dame in their house. So I think USC walks out of here with a win. I think it's a lot of defense this week. I think the most important part of this game is the USC defense versus the Notre Dame offense. I don't think they'll be able to keep up. I just don't think there's a way that Notre Dame finds themselves in another shootout, finding a way to win, especially not against a team like USC. But we'll see come game day.
Yeah, I'm gonna go opposite. I think Notre Dame does get it done at home. Um, but oddly enough, that this is gonna be an offensive game. Both teams' offenses are really good. Neither defenses are very good at all. Um, South Carolina, their offense is second in the nation in passing, versus Notre Dame's defense is 105th against the pass.
South
So,
South Carolina, you mean South California?
oh yeah, yes, the other SC, South California, USC. So, based off that stat alone, if that's all I knew, I would go USC. But these back against the wall games, they got to have it. Notre Dame cannot lose another game. If they lose another game, there is no path for them to get in the college football playoff. This being at home, a night game, a must-have win. USC coming off of a kind of a high, a good win. Um, I think Notre Dame gets them. Uh, I think it is between the two offenses, but I think this is a game where I trust Marcus Freeman to get his guys together to be able to play better than Lincoln Riley does. Not necessarily saying I think Marcus Freeman's just head and shoulders better. I think the dynamics of the game and the spot that each team is in currently, I think that favors Notre Dame. And I think this is when we start looking at Notre Dame and saying, okay, they had a tough break at the beginning of the season, playing two really good teams. Both were playing really good when they played them, but they kind of got their feet under them now, and that snowball is rolling, and it's gonna keep building and building and building towards Notre Dame momentum up into the playoffs. And I think that starts this game. So I'm gonna go with Notre Dame. Get into the score later, but I think it's close. It could go either way. Yeah, I'm gonna take Marcus Freeman and the boys. They have a big mural of Jesus over their stadium. So I don't know. I feel like a team from Los Angeles isn't gonna go in there and win. Uh, for what it's worth. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. So yeah. I don't know when the last time South Carolina won in South Bend was, but I think it's been a few years. So I
South
don't think
California.
that changes this year. Did I say South Carolina again?
Yeah.
Dadgum. Southern California.
You really got your mind on that Cocktober,
It's the Cocktober, dude.
huh?
I'm telling you.
uh, with that, we're gonna go ahead and get on to the Utah versus BYU. Again, don't know when and where this is being played.
Let's see. This is going to be played at BYU. It's a night game. It's a 6 o'clock game, Mountain Time. That's 7 o'clock our time. And
Another really good
Utah,
game, just on
yeah,
in the middle of ours, man.
right there. Utah is favored by 3.5.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
they are on the road.
On the road at night. Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting. I'm not
Yeah.
mad at it. Uh, I've been kind of hogging up, so if you want to go first, you can.
Yeah, I'll go first. I think Utah wins this football game. I agree with that they are the favorites. BYU has been pushing their luck every single week. The best teams that they've played are against Colorado and Arizona, and they've almost lost those games. I think Utah has finally got their feet under them after the Texas Tech game. I think they come in ready to play, as physical as BYU can be. We haven't seen them have to be a physical team versus somebody with a, let's be honest, a pulse. And I think they're going to be a little too high on themselves. And I think Utah wins the holy war. Um, I'm excited for this game. I think it's going to be a really close game. Um, I said the line's 3.5. I think Utah wins, but BYU covers. To tell you how close I think this game's going to be, I think it's going to be a really good game, and it sucks that probably not going to get to see it. Hardly any of it, that is, except for like Alabama's halftime. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is a fun game. The Holy War. Only in college football do you get a name like that.
Only in college football, indeed. I'm gonna go opposite of you. I think BYU. I think they're 6-0 for a reason. I think they've had a couple of close games, but I mean, you look at these close games, and this last week it was at Arizona, and I believe the Colorado game was at Colorado. So those were two close games, but I think they were both away, and they found a way to win. And I don't think Arizona's no pushover team. I think they're a solid Big 12 team. Colorado, it's a week by week thing for Colorado. You never know what you're going to get with them.
Yeah.
Um, I think BYU finds a way to win this game and move up the rankings. I think they're 6-0 for a reason. I think they stay consistent. They're a team that I don't think tries to do too much, but they do just enough. Like you said, they've been pushed on their luck. I feel like they've been in the position that they've wanted to be in each week. I think the only time they were really up on the ropes was against Arizona in the overtime. Um, and they did push their luck, but I think that was kind of their wake up moment. I'm not saying BYU is absolutely just legit, but I think at home at night, coming off a close two overtime away game, they find a way to get this thing done against Utah. I think the Utah team is gonna have a struggle getting going offensively in this environment. That's kind of what happened against Texas Tech. Not really the environment, just against that Texas Tech defense. And I think this BYU defense is not better than Texas Tech, but kind of up there in that same range. And I think they'll struggle getting going, and then the environment will just be too much to handle. I'm gonna take BYU.
Yeah. Um, Side note, um, I there's a lot of talk right now of SEC versus Big Ten. I just want to point this out. Alabama, just Alabama, not even any other SEC teams, currently have 6 ranked teams on their schedule, so half their games are against currently ranked teams. Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon combined only have 4. So I don't want to hear crap about
With that
SEC versus Big Ten.
with that comment, I saw a video earlier today, and it was like Nebraska fans, like, they're not, Nebraska isn't culturally in the right conference. They're in the Big Ten. Would you rather play Washington, Iowa, and some other team, or would you rather play Texas, Oklahoma, Texas A&M? I'm like, dude, I wouldn't want to play those. If I'm Nebraska, I'm
No.
right where I want to be. I'm much rather playing teams like this Michigan team, like the who they just played this last week. Who did they just
Uh,
play? They didn't play
Minnesota? No, they
Minnesota.
play Minnesota this week.
They
They
well,
played Maryland. Maryland.
either
Maryland. That's who
way,
it is.
I'm choosing those teams. I don't want to play these SEC teams. What kind of take is
Yeah.
that? What kind of dumb idiotic take is that to say that Nebraska would rather be in the SEC right now? That is just not true. I believe, last year the Big Ten was more top heavy and they had the top dogs. I'll give it to them last year. This year, I think the SEC is back. The SEC looks really, really good this year. I think you go take Oklahoma and put them in that Big Ten. I think they're a top three team. Same for Texas A&M, same for Bama. I think these teams are really good, and from top to bottom, I think the SEC is just better. I hate that debate every time
I
it
mean, yeah,
happens.
our preseason worst team beat the Big 12's preseason best team. So, and I know that's not the Big Ten, but still, I think that speaks a lot to the depth of the SEC. If you just took Kentucky out, then we'd be insanely good at the
And
sport of
Arkansas,
football.
and
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
potentially
you could.
Auburn.
You know what though? If I was a Big Ten team, I wouldn't want to go down to Jordan Hare. So there's that.
Yeah. Nah, I just don't care
Yeah.
anymore.
Anyway, we can get back to predictions. I just had to say that because I just happened to see it.
Oh,
So